undies behind us.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Sick. Welcome to Green Sea Adventures, Sailing Rogue. In today's adventure, we talk like excited loons after receiving a message from our broker. We watch a bald guy survey our boat on the hard, then splash it for a sea trial. We take time out to ride bikes while avoiding alligators in Shark Valley. And we watch some random guys play paper, scissors, rock in a cave that we're trying to dive in.
We got an email. Yep, we got an... You just jump right in, don't you? Bomb dive. I spent the first few hours of this morning on and off, awake and asleep, checking my email because I was super excited about this boat offer and just wanted to know. Really didn't want to go out and look again today, so we decided to sleep in a bit, but so excited.
And I slept all the way in till 10 o'clock and then woke up, had a quick check on my phone, and we had a text message waiting saying our offer was accepted, which is sweet. And it only sort of $5,000 over our absolute maximum. We made a new maximum.
Natalie and Jeff had offered us their spare room as a base of operation while the contract was being negotiated. We were sure to let them know how much we appreciated it, not just the place to stay, but also having friends right there to share the experience with us. Today we're heading up to Green Cove Springs to get the survey done on the hard of the Beneteau 42cc. It's called Kimosabi, but we think we'll probably change that name when we get it. We're pretty excited. Vix? Pretty excited? Do you think it'll pass the survey?
I hope so. We're kind of in love with this boat already.
We know there's some things wrong with it. We know it's got the shower and the toilet pumps failed, they're not working. And we know...
For only one.
Yeah. We also know one of the hatches is jammed shut.
Lockers.
And we also know one of the lockers is jammed shut. But the owner has told us that at the price we negotiated, he's not willing to fix anything. So the survey and the sea trial is very much a pass-fail thing. So we'll find out soon whether or not it passes or it fails. Here she is. This is Kimosabi. This is the Beneteau 42 that Vicky and I have been interested in and are getting surveyed today. She's been on the hard for a year. So the hull's looking a bit tired. Apparently there's a wax that's been ordered for it. So it should look nice and clean after that's been done. And it's going in the water again in 3 days' time on Friday. And we'll take her out for a sea trial.
Our broker is super nice, so she's going to help us get everything repaired and to source people to help us on the sea trial because we need a captain. He's not coming back from France to help pilot the boat during sea trial, but
we didn't expect that
suspect
anyway.
that was going to be the case anyway. But yeah.
This is our surveyor. His name's Bill, and he'll take us through over the next couple of days and point out all the things that are wrong with our boat. The boat had just had the deck cleaned, so everything was bright and shiny, and we were feeling pretty confident. The surveyor tapped the hull, looking for voids and delamination. He found none. Similarly, he went around the deck, where he did find one small soft spot. It was around an inlet, where it probably just needed resealing. He told us that wasn't a big deal. We went through all the bilges, testing and commenting where a second hose clamp might be needed. He tested all the electrical boards. As the day went on, we were glad that all of this was going into a report, even with the notes we were taking. It was hard to keep track of all the items. Fortunately, most of them were minor, which was great. There were a couple of pumps that needed replacement that we knew about. Also, some of the solar panels were damaged. The usual corrosion, leaking gaskets. One thing we wish he had done is paid a little more attention to the dinghy and outboard. It might seem like a pretty minor detail, when you're about to buy your new floating home. But if your boat is your house, your dinghy and outboard are your car. And having a great house with a car that can't get you there is a serious problem. What we did notice was that there was a large volume of water and an oily substance collecting in the aft quarter of the boat. In this boat, that section is not sealed off from the rest of the bilges. Water levels can flow all the way down, but they would need to be pretty high to get over one of the stringers. Well, when she was on the lift, that's what happened. That oily water lifted up and spilled over the stringers and into the bilge. It would have to be removed from the boat. Gross. And we didn't even own it yet. We added to the list the need for the steering ram to be reconditioned. Julie topped up the hydraulic fluid for us, and the captain she had brought along instructed the yard in how to fit the sails. Then we were ready to go. While we were pretty nervous seeing the boat go up in the slings, it was comforting to know that at this point we were not liable. Although, with the owner's absence, we're not really 100% sure how things are going to go. The hired captain assisted in putting up the sails, testing the furlers and winches. The sails and lines looked a bit worn to us, a little old, but both the captain and the surveyor said they looked fine for another season or two. They got the thumbs up. Unfortunately, there was very little wind out on the St. Johns River, so we mostly just tested everything we could and let the surveyor do his thing. All things considered, we decided to go with it. Kimosabi she was called. The survey report showed very few issues with the boat. It was in average condition for its age. In the days following, we tried to occupy ourselves by going and seeing the sights of Florida.
Today, we're going to haul us out and go to the Everglades and just relax for a day.
We hauled ass and hired out a couple of dodgy bicycles to cycle through Shark Valley. The entry fees are a little steep, but the money goes to rehabilitation and restoration of the wetlands, so we counted as money well spent. We were there in the afternoon, so we had to push it pretty hard on the bikes to make it back before closing. But it was totally worth it to get up close and personal with alligators, turtles, birds, and some curious nest-building fish.
How epic are these bikes?
Top notch. Rickety. No gears. Pedal backwards, sister.
Don't pedal back, Jeff. Don't pedal backwards.
Once we were back in Gainesville, our mate Jeff decided that we needed to go and check out some freshwater cave diving. We drove out to the limestone caves at Ginnie Springs. This was not only our first freshwater dive, but also our first dive in the USA. Ginnie Springs is a private camping and recreation park in the central north of Florida. A tributary of the Santa Fe River runs straight through the park, giving visitors access to a number of limestone caves and caverns. The rules there are a lot less strict than back home in Australia. Here, we paid at the counter, cited our paddy cards, gave us some directions, and then let us have at it. I mean, there were no guides, no nothing. We weren't allowed to take a torch with us, but that's because they didn't want us delving into the caves. The basic rule is, if you can't see the light, you're not meant to be there. We did a quick check dive with Jeff, and everything was great. With that out of the way, we floated downriver towards the next site. That's where we saw most of the fish and turtles. It's very relaxing, and doesn't prepare you at all for what's to come. The water is cold and clear, and like many calcite-rich waters, almost glows with an aqua radiance. The beautiful watercolour is the result of light refraction, caused by microscopic particles of lime suspended in the water column. The UV, blue, and sometimes even green light is bounced back, while the green to infrared spectrum is absorbed by the water. These caves are formed over millions of years as meteoric water flows through and dissolves the limestone, leaving behind a cavernous gap. Caves like this exist all over Florida, and the pressure differences due to elevation and sometimes tidal flows make currents a common thing. The main reservoir for these springs can be formed deep in the Earth's crust, so water coming out can be quite warm as well as fresh, although this is not the case at Ginnie Springs, where warm weather divers like us definitely need a wetsuit. At Ginnie Springs, as you gaze into the cave, you feel like you're looking into an abyss. If you don't look back, you feel like it's swallowing you whole. You become part of that abyss. A gentle sense of foreboding rises within you. Or perhaps the spike of adrenaline, a fight or flight response? As you lay pondering existence, stay calm, overcome, understand. Lights pierce the darkness, and a group of cave divers exiting the tunnel come towards us. It's a very alien experience, and one I will always recommend. Just remember, obey the signs and always dive with a buddy. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and make sure you subscribe down below. The adventure is just beginning. Next week, we take possession of our new boat, deal with some hidden issues, and prep for a border run before our Ester runs out.